Hey, hello, this is John Davis with Davis Business Coaching and Action Coach, and I'm here with Taboris, and we're going to talk about his business a little bit. So, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, tell me about your company.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Or good morning. You're on the East Coast.
Whenever you're watching this.
I am G. Taboris Taylor. I am the CEO of Aid First Transportation, company we acquired back in October of 2021. We are a non-emergency medical transportation company providing service to our seniors, elders, and the physically and mentally challenged throughout the corridor of Beaufort, Sugar Hill, Cumming, Grayson, Lawrenceville, Decula,
Northeast Atlanta,
and soon to be Loganville.
Excellent. My mom was in Loganville. I remember that.
Okay.
For those, because I do have a network that's outside of the Georgia area, those are all Northeast Atlanta areas.
Okay.
And you prefer to be called G or Taboris or?
Greg is fine. Greg is fine.
Okay. All right. So you bought the business in late 2021. Were you in this business or this industry before?
No, we were not. We are primarily Stephen & Taylor is the parent company, Stephen & Taylor International Financial Services. We started that business back in 2018 as primarily a tax preparation and business consulting. Since I had over 20 plus years in commercial sales and 11 of that was with the federal government, we decided to kind of diversify our business model because we saw that things will be changing in the years to come when filing taxes for personal and business. So we want to kind of get ahead of the curve and see what's on the horizon. What are some, as they say, I can't think the word, some vertical markets that are there for 2024 going into 2026. And non-emergency transportation was one of those industries that's going to be around $30 billion by that year because our baby boomers are a little bit longer. And, I'm not a spring chicken. And it was a great opportunity for us to kind of get back in, and hopefully we'll be coming out of these COVID protocols where things can kind of get back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, if you just look at the demographics and the boomers and everything, and geographically, you're right in the right areas. I mean, just between, I'm in Grayson, my mom's in Loganville, and between our houses that are 15 minutes, there's probably 5 brand new senior living facilities.
Yes.
That have all come up in the last 3-4 years. So, I mean, you picked the right vertical. Now, some people, I think it was Richard Branson who said, if you can run one business, you can run them all. They're all, at the core, they're all the same. But,
right.
Financial services and transporting medical people, there's a lot of differences in there. I mean, the fundamentals is the same. So what have you been able to apply from one to the other that's really benefited you, and what surprised you about the new industry?
Our adage is kill them with kindness, and we know people like quality service. They will pay a premium if you make them feel good about what you do, and if you really set yourself apart from the competition. And I take this approach for my kids. I ask them, what are their favorite restaurants? And they all say they love the experience that they get when they go to a Chick-fil-A or when they walk into a QT. They like to be greeted, they like to be taken care of, even though it may be a little bit more on the pricing side, but that quality experience is what they remember most. So that's what we really do, because we're dealing with precious cargo. When you're dealing with seniors, mentally challenged, physically challenged, paraplegics, quadriplegics, the entire things that you'll encounter throughout a day. A lot of them, some may be blind, some can't speak. So you really have to be patient and realize that you're dealing with someone's loved ones that need that level of expertise that you can provide to them on a daily basis.
And so that's a little different than financial planning. I mean, you still need customer service and you still need great experience.
It's night and day, because now on the financial side of it, and we all got to deal with inflation. We all have to deal with that elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Like, hey, my 401k is now 201k. And there's no way around it. We all have to deal with that same animal. And majority of our clients are like ourselves, we're small business owners. So if we're not out there, if we don't sell, we don't eat. And that's the beauty of it. You're not limited to what you can do from an income perspective, but when you're facing some challenges that you have no control over, those variables, you really have to be on top of it day to day.
So what, and that goes into one of my questions I wanted to ask you. The last couple, look, I've been in business for 30 years, right? There's always change. There's always something new. You have to react to what's going on that's unexpected. But the last few years has been filled with unexpected, significant changes. People, supply chain, inflation, not to mention COVID and all that other stuff. And you talked about change. So are there any major events or changes that have really altered your vision on how you're running the business today versus when you started last year?
I just think you have to be ahead of the curve. Just give you a little background. I've been in outside sales for over 20 years. And in the mid 2000s, for us outside salespeople, everywhere you went had no soliciting signs. Or you could just go cold call, knock on doors. Hey, John, hey, you have a few minutes of your time to tell you about, how we may be able to save some money. And that kind of went away. And we all got used to Zoom and Google Meets and working remotely. And now everyone now is all Zoomed out. Now they want to get back to the networking events, the chamber events. They want to get back to, hey, is that a salesman out there? Send them into my office. Now everyone wants to be back how America was built, through relationships. So, and we've taken that mindset where, we make 20 to 30 cold calls a day when we're not out operating. And the business owners are very receptive. They're very receptive to it. And, it's a lost art. It's not easy.
All right.
Not everyone is used to dealing with rejection. It's, not a smiley face, because you're not going to win every deal. But hopefully we can get back to that way of doing business.
So yeah, you touched on a lot of different things there we could talk about. One is the networking. I've got a list of networking I can share with you because we're in the same geographic area.
Okay.
That you may be interested in. And also the cold calling and we call it bold calling, those types of things. It's interesting too, the responses I've been getting in different geographic areas as I meet business owners. There's certain areas, and I'm talking about in just our region, like our little suburbs of Atlanta. There's certain areas where you're never going to get through, and there's others where it's like, hey, come on in, let's talk. What do you want to talk about? And just like you said, that old school, friendly, relationship building. I do think I understand one side, but I do think that openness is going to be, people are going to succeed because they're going to learn more ideas and get more. They're going to have a stronger network to lean on. So, and you talked about something about, and I forget how you said it, but you alluded to the fact of making decisions faster, right? Like you say, get ahead of the curve. That was the comment. Yes. So are there any decisions you wish you had made sooner to get ahead of the curve?
If we could have gotten ahead of the curve we didn't see the pre-owned vehicle market the way that it is now, because when you're dealing with non-emergency medical transportation, you're in stop and go traffic from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. all day. Right. And there's a lot of wear and tear on your vehicles. And it just the market
impacted your financial plan, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I assume you're intending to buy pre-owned vehicles, and it's into your financial model, and then the cost is skyrocket.
Right. You might as well be paying showroom floor prices.
Right.
And there's not enough inventory. So we remember from back in our college days, it's all supply and demand.
Right.
High demand and limited supply. You got to, you know how that goes, but that's for a different conversation.
So if you could have seen that coming, maybe you would have bought ahead or bought earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
I tell my daughter's driving now and talk about gas prices, right? And I look at the same, when gas prices are going up, people tend to slow down. They don't fill up all the time. They go quarter tanks, they go half tanks
Mhm.
because the gas is higher. And I said, when you see it going up, you want to buy the full tank because the next one's going to be more expensive.
That's
So
right.
if you had the cash in that situation and you see those prices going up, you want to start buying them faster.
Right. But there was no
If you know your
inventory.
financial model, if you know your financial model can handle it, right?
Yes, yes. So we kind of looked at that and did some projections, and then you have to really factor in those contingency plans with, hey, what if we go into another lockdown? What if
Right.
this new strand comes back and all those other non-emergency medical transportation companies that went under because they just couldn't survive it. And that's always in the back of your mind as as a CEO.
I could see that as both threat and opportunity.
Right.
The lockdown, right? So, because people still need to go to medical appointments, and yeah, they're doing medical by Zoom, but then they're not going to be using mass transportation as much, right? Or you have different, protracted emergency things. So I could see threat and opportunity to other medically induced lockdown.
There's so many protocols in place. Are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated?
Right.
I can't sit next to this person. We got to be 6 feet apart. Well, that's kind of hard to do in a cargo van where, you got a 7-passenger vehicle. Okay, how's this going to work? What if somebody from the county inspector's office is out? So it was just,
oh yeah, you got inspections for sure.
Yeah. So it was just, none of us knew. We were all just kind of going through it in real time. And it was, it was not conducive to small business owners. So, but we one of the ones that made through it. So hopefully, we can make some things happen.
So are there any decisions you made that were kind of short-term reactionary that have now become a permanent part of your business that you didn't like when you made the decision, you thought it was a temporary situation and now you're doing it all the time?
Well, just like a lot of the other organizations out there, finding valuable employment, employees, I should say, excuse me. I found myself driving. It's a lot of people, they don't have a very good motor vehicle record.
So you had to DIY, you had to do it yourself.
Yes. So in this business, just give you an idea, you have to go through a GBI background check for the state, the Department of Human Services. Then you have to be able to go through a drug screening. And then you have to have a good, clean driving record. So you have to have the trifecta. In most cases, they'll get 2 out of the 3. And the people that you least expect that would not have a clean driving record are the ones that you should run from. This sweet old lady or this sweet old guy. Oh my goodness, you got 7 DUIs in Gwinnett County? How could that be?
So you're looking for drivers. It's a key to growing your business.
Yes, we are. We have
and we did talk about this ahead of time, but so who's an ideal driver, right? Who's an ideal driver, and if you're willing to share, what's the wage rate?
The wage rate right now is what we're offering to start out is 100 to 150 a day with bonuses because there are certain guidelines that we have to follow with hard pickup times and getting people to their destinations on time and things like that. So we are pretty much, we want to be flexible because, some people are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I really want to go back to work. Kind of like
the Uber driver, the part-time Uber driver type thing.
Yeah.
Well, and what do they need to be?
Drivers, they're a little different. They kind of, do I really want to take this ride or not take this ride? Like, hey, this guy's to be picked up at 8 o'clock. He's going to be there waiting. So, we have that manifest. But
I just meant those types. There's a lot of people that are Uber drivers that are where it's a side gig. And that's what you're saying. It sounds like there's some people you're dealing with that a little bit.
Right.
Who want a part-time job, but you're like, okay, it's part-time, but I still have a hard set time for you to be here.
So you have your retired bus drivers. You have your retired truck drivers that you like to supplement their income, who has that CDL license, or just some good people that just want to give back and really help out our seniors. And it's very demanding on it, because some people need your full attention. You can't take your eyes off of them.
Right.
And, it
Yeah, I
has
know
its
Gwinnett
pros.
County needs bus drivers. Every school's advertising needing
Yeah,
bus drivers.
yeah, $26 an hour. And you can kind of set your own schedule with us. If you're an early morning person, early afternoon person, we're very flexible with that. Our routes run anywhere from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Right.
We have to shut down all of our weekend runs and our airport runs.
What about college kids? Would they be a good hiring pool for you? Good college kids.
No.
Okay.
Too many distractions.
All right. Oh, okay. I get you.
Too many
Texting.
distractions. They got the TikTok going, they're streaming, they got the buds in.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might have
Got
the
it.
GoPro. And I'm like, wait, we do have some privacy issues here.
Right.
If they can do the job, it's not easy.
Right.
It is not easy getting up, getting out, letting the wheelchair lift down, getting them on the wheelchair lift, getting the lift in place, securing it with the restraints, and getting
That's
to
it. Was
the
the physical part
destination.
made me think of those kids, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So
And
what's been your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
I'm sorry?
Either what's the most important thing you've learned, either in your last business or in Aid First?
Everything starts and stops with you.
Okay.
I come from a military family. My dad served in Vietnam, and I coach senior baseball over at Rabbit Hill Park in Gwinnett.
I know it. Yeah.
14 and 19-year-olds. And the thing that they've always stressed is that if the general panics, the troops are going to panic. So even when everything is falling down around you, you have to be even keel. So that way they don't panic. Well, if
Right.
Greg is nervous, then I better be nervous.
Right.
Why is he not nervous? Then I guess everything's okay. Even though everything is, it's hit the fan.
Right.
So that's what I've learned in my 20 plus years is that you don't take rejection personally. It's all about the next one. And not today, but maybe tomorrow. That's the mentality we have. You haven't bought from me yet, but you will.
So you and I have some things in common. My dad was also in Vietnam, and I coached softball. I coached 14 to 18-year-old girls softball, travel softball, and I've coached up at Rabbit Hill years ago. So yeah, lots of commonality there. So that's a good one, right? You do have to stay even keeled. You can't panic, right? You have to be attentive to what's going on. You have to be aware. You have to react, and you have to react with urgency. But if you panic, you're not focused on a good solution, right? You have to. When I was reading something the other day, it's kind of like when we're panicked or when we're in a hurry, we're not thinking clearly. You have to get it to where you can think clearly to make good decisions, and that's going to help your team for sure. So what's next? What's next for your business?
Next for our business is we need 2 additional drivers. My business partner is a Navy veteran. So we're a veteran-owned business. And we're at that point where we're ready to grow. And we've, been trying to find, secure the right financing and everything that we need. Somewhere where we can park our vehicles, get us a nice storefront, because we're at that point now where we are ready to expand. There's limitless opportunities out there. We're running at about 40% capacity, and we can really serve the citizens of Gwinnett County, just Gwinnett, and provide a good quality service that they really need.
So one of the things we talk about is time, team, and money, right? The 3 legs of the stool, right? And it's interesting because you're at 40% capacity. So the balance there, a perfect example is if you have more drivers, you have a bigger team, right? Then you can generate more money, revenue, and profit, right? And then also when doing so, you can build your team. The issue then is in the beginning, that puts more pressure on you and your time.
Yes, it
right.
does.
Because to run at 80, you're 40%. To run at 80, your time has to change, and how you apply your time is different. And it's a balance. When you grow it from running the business to yourself to 1,000 people, you're always moving those 3 legs of the stool up. You
Yeah.
can never grow one leg without without changing something in the other two. They have to grow with it, or your stool's not going to be balanced.
Right.
So, and interesting, you talked about that capacity. It's going to be that balance. Time, team, money until
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. And I mean, you're in the right area. It's good that this is getting out there to different people, because somebody's going to need your services. I think in the next years, I'm sure I will. Not me personally. I hope it's not me, but for my family. But so that's good. So, are there any offers or opportunities you want to make sure people know about, either on the client side, the customer side, or on the employee side?
Well, both. Definitely on the employee side is that we are a growing organization. We're grounded. We're very business savvy. Like I said, we have over 20 plus years in business, and we're a very solid company. We can assist you if you're a small business with business consulting, with coaching, tax preparation, mentoring. We've seen it all. I worked for the federal government for 11 years. I worked in corporate America for over 10 plus years. I've been in those sales meetings every morning that we dread. You're only as good as your last month. No matter if you sold 100,000 last month, that sales manager wants you to duplicate that or increase those sales. And forecasting, that's the name of the game. Whether it's your 30, 60, 90, 180-day forecast. If you don't have anything working, if you sold everything today, you don't have anything in that pipeline for the next 6 months, that's going to be an issue for you. And we've ramped ourselves up, and we really want to just be in a position where we can provide good quality transportation services, because we've heard the nightmare stories where seniors try and take an Uber or Lyft, and it didn't work out for them, where they really need something like us that can really provide them the services that they need.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so what gives you the most inspiration today, being a business owner and looking forward?
Man, that's a great question. For me, I would think it's being able to choose your own path and be able to maximize your time, because we all know when we work for someone else, it's never good enough. It's never good enough. If you exceed expectations, they want you to exceed even higher. If you're the employee of the month this month, that doesn't mean anything. They can change that plate out and put your name on the next month.
Your yardstick has changed.
So we've all.
I got that all the time. You exceeded expectations last year, so you don't get to just do the same thing you did last year. You got to be better.
Exactly. And if you look at it from a sports analogy, they have those incentives in their contracts, like in football. If they win the division, they lead the league in touchdowns, they're the MVP, they go to the Super Bowl, they win the Super Bowl, they hit all these clauses, and they come back the next year, it doesn't mean a thing.
Yep.
It doesn't mean a thing. And
absolutely.
Just like they can change teams, we live in a right to work state, they can fire you for any reason. So that was one of the reasons why I said, hey, you know what? I'm 45 and I'm tired of that doggy dog world, where a lot of things are just smoking mirrors, and you take 3 steps forward and you take 4 back, and that's the name of the game. Unless you're you can write your own ticket, start your own company, and you can set those boundaries and how you can have an impact, and it can be rewarding, and you can give back. And so that's the thing I like most about it is helping our seniors, because they were us at one point. We're going to be them at some point if we live long enough. So, and our young people are going to be making decisions for me and you here shortly. They're going to be CEOs and governors and senators. So it's, hey, I want them as my ally. And
yeah, you're right. You can. What your initial answer though about you can do and maximize your time and your opportunity. More businesses were started 2020 and 2021 than any other year in history. And I go back to the recession in 08, 09 after that, and I was in the restaurant industry making food equipment. A lot of startup companies occurred then. And some of those startups then are now major known nationally or regionally known companies 10 years later, because people took that opportunity and saw a way to do it better and different than what was being done. So it's going to be uncomfortable for some. There's going to be winners, there's going to be losers, but there's tons of opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
And the technology, and you talked about Zoom and all that, it has its barriers, but it can also create ways for people to engage that they've never envisioned before. So that's very cool.
If you just think about Grubhub and Uber Eats and the way that you scan the QR code when you go to a restaurant, there are no more menus. So things are always changing, and you just have to evolve with it.
And those are new technologies and concepts 20, 30 years ago. And then they each, the meal delivery and QR codes dropped off, right? They didn't stick. People like, this, I remember I pushed QR codes in my company and, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, like, nobody wants to do those things. And now it's everything. It's really an old technology that was.
Yes, it is.
So that's cool. Well, Greg, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing how Aid First grows in the community and what happens in the near future. And I want to make sure that we stay in touch. So I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.